What is up, y'all? This is Nerd, and we are going through every single Palworld TCG or OCG card. And this time we are looking at the blue card. So let's just get into it. Let's look at all these awesome blue pals. We got Shillet Dragon Whisper, which is I have not personally tested this deck too much, but I think I kind of want to build this. I've been playing the game as well. I'm like 70 hours in at this point, and Shillet is probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite pal to keep on me. Yeah, after growing attached to this little guy, I kind of really want to build this deck, and I just think the effect is also so good. You can deploy a pal that's 8 or less cost pretty much for free by looking at the top card of your deck. If you don't, you add it to your hand. So essentially, you are either going to summon a free pal or drawing a card, which I think is very good. And he's a lucky pal. Next, we got Relaxosaurus. This is also a nice little funny guy. Like I said, I haven't tested this deck really much myself, so off the top of my head, I can't remember what really is that great to test here, but we can look at these effects and see what's actually pretty good. Auto on deploy, you choose up to 1 6 or less pal, rest it. While this card's in base, that card does not stand. So that's kind of interesting. You're essentially stopping one of your opponent's pals from defending, and yeah, as long as this card is there, that thing is not gonna defend. Not too bad. Then we got the Germontide, the OG, not the Ignis. On deploy, you draw a card, choose up to 1 7 or less pal, and rest it. That card does not stand during your opponent's next stand phase. So, seeing a little bit of a trend there. You're kind of stunning your opponents here with the blue deck. And again, you draw a card, and it's pretty strong. Strike 3. It's a lucky pal. Not bad, not bad. It's pretty solid actually. Personally, I think the Ignis one is a little bit better, but I can definitely see this one being favorited, obviously. Next, we got Pengulet, Yearning for the Sky. Oh, that's kind of cute because penguins can't really fly. When this card's put into the graveyard, draw 1 card. Solid. It has an okay power for the cost. It's a turn 2, turn 3 kind of pal. Strike 2 isn't too bad, and when you block with it, or just if it just gets sent to the graveyard, draw a card. Not too bad, not too bad. Let's go with Azuro, but Water Dragon Waltz. Draw 1 card on deploy, choose up to 1 pal and rest it. So again, with the stun effects, it's a lucky pal. It's not too pricey to cast. Stats are okay. Not too bad. I'm not sure if I would play it myself, but it's not horrible. Reptiros Christ. On deploy, you draw a card. So you once per turn, discard 1 card from your hand. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose up to 2 6 or less structures from among them and deploy them. So it's kind of similar to the other effect of the Ore Gorger effect for the red deck. Yeah, not bad actually. It's pretty solid. I for an 8 cost, I wish the power was a little bit higher. The effect's pretty strong though if you're kind of going towards that structure kind of gameplay. We got Pen King. This guy's funny. All of your main name Pengulet pals get 700 attack. That's actually pretty strong. 700 is a pretty big difference there. It's a 5 cost, strike to strike. It's decent, but I mean, you'd have to get base the deck around the Pengulet stuff. Is there other Pengulets? I don't think there is. Oh, there is. Okay, so you could essentially run 4 4 and 4 and make these little Pengulets kind of beaters since they're pretty low cost. I don't know if that's really a viable strategy here, but down the line as they make more cards, it could be a viable strategy, I guess. Fwack, which I think is a funny name. Fwack, Manic Wave Ripper. When this card is attacked, this card gets 300 until end. So when he's blocking, essentially he gets 500. He gets up to 500 power. It's all right, but like I said with the red description, with those small cost pals, you really do need them to get a cheap low pal to work your structures. So then we got Wumpo, Frost Peak Sentinel. If this card is in the rest state, all of your opponent's pals get a -1 strike. That's not bad. So essentially, you want to be attacking with this guy. He is pretty beefy, and yeah, your opponents, if they have some of the smaller guys, those smaller guys are not doing damage to you. The bigger guys are doing less strike damage, so not bad, not bad. It's pretty good, and it's a lucky pal. T-Fount, Fountain of Cheer. Um, so on a sign, choose one pal, it gets 400. Okay, so it boosts another pal. Again, the 2 costs pretty solid. And I kind of like these the serious effects guys, because when they're summoned later in the game, it's kind of nice for that extra little push when your opponent does have bigger pals on the board. Mao Christ. When this card is assigned to a farming structure, draw 1 card. Not bad, and like I said, you need the small guys, so that's not too bad. It gives you an extra draw. It is a little pricier than some of those little 2-cost guys, but yeah, it's not bad. Celery. Loop de Loop. Draw 1 card on attack, choose 1 card from your hand and discard it. So, it's not too bad. Helps you cycle through the deck. Add a 3 cost with 400 power. Yeah, I mean, you're cycling through the deck, I guess. This one's pretty solid. Then we have a vanilla 4-drop, 700 power, 2 strike. It's pretty solid for a, second, third turn pal. Yeah, it's not bad. What do we got here? Cryolinks. So we have the nullify attack guy here, 6-drop, 900, 2 strike. Yeah, this one's pretty solid. I can definitely see this one being a 4 of in the deck. Alpha Dran Aqua, one of my favorite pals in the game. So you draw 2 cards, choose 1 card from your hand, and put it on top of the deck. So this is kind of where the combos start coming into play. You play this guy, you set a dragon, you make sure that there's a dragon on top of the deck, and when you summon your Shillet, you summon that dragon back out. So that's pretty cool. So part of the combo there would be obviously to stack if you're playing the Azuro, if you're playing the Jarmuntide, and pretty much any other dragon. Once if you're mixing blue with I think purple is one of the popular ones to mix this with. Yeah, you really play the combo here with Alpha Dran. In this case it's pretty nice that it's not a lucky dragon. No, it's not a lucky pal, since you are able to splash in some of the other strong dragons. Yeah, pretty cool. This is definitely a 4 of in the deck in my opinion. Jolt Hog. It's a vanilla 2. Not too shabby. But yeah, I think at that point I would probably play the T-Font or the Thwack over that one. Same with the Pengulet. I don't know if I would personally play the Pengulet if you're not doing the the big penguin guy, the Peng King, but if it's, I guess I think it's a viable strategy, a viable. If you're maybe if you're playing like mono blue, it's viable to splash that in that attack boosting combo. But if you're mixing blue with something else, I don't think that it's viable to play the penguins in my opinion. Hangyu Christ, Frigid Wanderer. So on deploy, you choose up to 1 3 or less pal and rest it. So you can rest one of your opponent's smaller guys. I don't know if that's really worth doing, mid game at that point. But yeah, I mean, it has decent stats, 600 and then 2 strike. We have the Raindrix, Icy Graze, and this is one of the nullify attack guys. This one's pretty solid. I think this one's a little bit better, but yeah, it's at least a smaller cost guy. It is a little bit weaker, but yeah, it's not bad. Then we have Suzaku Aqua, and we have Vigilance. At the end of return, stand this card. So just like in Magic the Gathering, but instead of it just staying rested, it does it at the end of the turn. Pretty solid. It's a 7-drop, 1200 power, and 3 strike. You can block with it later on. You can attack and then block. That's actually pretty solid, and it is a lucky pal. Then we have the Mamorest Christ. This card gets 200 for each of your structures, so that's actually very, very strong. If you're playing a deck based on structures and you're going for that kind of build, which you usually want at least 2 of a type of structure in the deck, but if you're throwing in more of those, that's actually very, very strong, very hard to get over. And then you can also discard 1 structure from hand. This card gets +1 strike until the end of the turn. So essentially, if you have 2 structures, that's a 2100 beater with 4 strike. That is very strong. So that is all the blue pals. Let's look at these structures and see if they are worth playing. So we have Antique Curtain. Choose up to X of your opponent's pals. It's on deploy. And return them to the hand. X is equal to the number of different card names among your structures with Antique in their names. If the current state has 4, Antique Mirror and Curtain is deployed, return up to 2 cards. So I hadn't realized that there are 3 antique structures here, 4 antique structures here. So that one's pretty decent. I just it's too situational. It is it does have strong durability, but it does have to be on deploy. You have to have already drawn these antiques. You would have to already have deployed them, and you would have already they would have to have survived at this point. So I don't know how viable that really is. It's decent mid to late game, but I think that's a little too situational. Then Antique Dresser, you discard 1 card from hand, discard 1 card name, choose all of your cards, and they get that declared name in addition until the. So I guess that makes everything, potentially all of your structures, antique themed. That's not too bad. I don't like the idea of having to draw this. Like you have to draw this later in the game, because otherwise you're just holding on to it in your hand. I mean, you do have ways to draw cards, recycle cards, but yeah, I'm not liking this antique theme to this. Hot Spring, choose up to 2 6 or less pals and rest them. Those cards do not stand during your opponent's next stand phase, which is actually very strong. This is a very good way to get your attacks through. Yeah, definitely see Hot Spring being used in every blue deck for sure. Then you got Antique Mirror. You pay 1, you draw a card, which is very nice. I think that one's definitely a staple in every blue deck. Sphere Workbench. Sign a pal, you draw 2 cards, choose 1 card from your hand, and discard it. So again, you're cycling through your deck a little bit faster. Yeah, I think that these 3 right here for sure are staples in this blue deck. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of the antique. The other 2 previous antique cards that are a little too situational. This one, choose antique wooden chair, choose up to 1 pal, and it gets 1,000 plus until end of the turn on deploy. Not bad. I think this is pretty decent. It's fairly cheap, and you're able to push for some stronger attacks. Definitely, if you're playing the Pengulet beatdown deck, you can you can give them an extra little boost for a pretty low cost structure. Primitive Workbench. Assign 1 pal, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a 6 or less structure or gear, you may deploy it. If you did not deploy it, add it to your hand. Essentially, you get to draw or deploy a free structure. It's not bad. Yeah, it's decent. Personally, if I'm playing a blue deck where I'm mixing with a different color, I'm probably only going to be running these 3 cards in my opinion, but obviously this could change. The game is still too early to really tell what's going to be ideal and optimal until people really start playtesting against each other at local events, tournaments, stuff like that. So let's look at the gears. Pengulet Rocket Launcher. Rest this card. Choose 1 pal and it gets 200 power until end of turn. If its name is Pengulet, it gets 500 instead. And the skill in brackets here until another turn. So the skill that it gets is rest this card, choose all of your opponent's pals, and they get X damage. X is equal to this card's powers. That's actually pretty strong. If you're doing damage to all of your opponent's pals, you know what? I might be wrong. The Pengulet beatdown might actually be very viable, and I kind of really like it. I'm gonna try to make a deck based on this Pengulet beatdown. I don't know, whatever this is. It seems pretty fun. I'm gonna try this out because I just really want to use this rocket launcher. Alright, we have the grappling gun as the next gear. Rest this card, choose 1 pal, and it gets 200 attack, and the skill in brackets, it has vigilance. That's not too bad, but for a 5-drop, I don't know about that. I mean, vigilance is really good. It does definitely help you block any future attacks. But yeah, I don't know if I would play this for that cost. If it was like a drop 2, maybe even drop 3, it would be a lot better. But as a 5, I feel like there's going to be better things to deploy that turn. And the last gear we have here, single shots. Your launcher, on deploy you draw a card. For 3 costs, it's not too bad since, you know, you can pay 3 souls to draw a card normally once per turn. So you can rest this card, choose 1 pal, it gets 200 attack until the end of the turn. Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, if you're going to pay 3 souls to draw a card on a random turn, you might as well have, you know, you might as well have something gain 200 attack. So that's it's not horrible. It's pretty solid, but it's not. I don't think it's super necessary in the deck. But you know, like I said, those 200 powers can definitely help you push to make that extra little push for a game towards, especially towards the end of the match. All right, so we have some events to go through here. We have Victor's strategy. Choose one of the following. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose 1 card from among them. Add them to your hand. Shuffle the rest. So again, you're essentially drawing a card, but you're getting to choose. For a cost 3, that's very solid. Definitely a 4 of in a deck. But you have 2 other options here. You choose 1 pal, return it to the hand. So you bounce a card from your opponent's field, which is very strong. Draw X cards. X is equal to the number of your structures. Again, if you're playing that structure antique kind of build to this, you can potentially draw a lot of cards just for that 3 cost. Very strong, very nice. Events Pal Sphere, which should have been a gear, I guess. But I guess if it's like a one-time use. Pay 4, draw 3 cards. Very straightforward, very solid. It's like a much stronger Pot of Greed. Aurora Guide, 2 cost. It's a quick, so it's like an instant or a hand trap if you know you play Yu-Gi-Oh! So you draw 1 card, choose up to 1 card from your hand, put it on top of the deck. Okay, that's pretty solid. It's a quick play. I'm not sure why it would be a quick, but yeah, not bad, not bad. It's actually probably a 4 of in a deck, maybe a 3 of. And the last event here, we have another quick effect. Choose 1 pal and it gets -3 strike until the end of the turn. That card does not stand during opponent's next stand. So it paralyzes a pal and you basically don't get damage. This is actually very good. I mean, you do have to leave 2 of your souls untapped, unrested for, you know, you want to ideally use this if your opponent is going for a big push. Especially, you know, if they already have a pal that can do, you know, about 3 or less strike that you're, you know, kind of scared of. Nullifying the strike damage and being able to paralyze that from, you know, from not standing their next stand phase is, you know, you get to kind of attack over a big guy. Yeah, it's pretty good. I would definitely run this. So that is all the blue cards as of right now. We will be back here soon with the other colors coverage. So stick around. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.